group. So appreciate you joining us. So we thought just it'd be a nice opportunity for you guys to ask some questions and give some feedback. The questions have been all over the map, and there's not been a bad one on the lot. I'm going to go over some housekeeping things real quickly. I told program 1 and 2 that their specific goal every year is just to get themselves used to running a different distance each week so they can ultimately get to 10 miles. And that pace is I don't even want to hear them talking about pace. And right after I said, I don't want to hear you talking about pace, somebody brought up how slow they are and told me what their pace was. I said, that is ridiculous. You are trying to train your body to run comfortably at that aerobic heart rate, which again, poor man's explanation on it is your ability to run without breathing heavy, because it's an aerobic sport, and that's how you're going to build your aerobic engine. Programs 3 and 4 starts to blur a little bit. They start to monkey around with pace a little bit. Maybe they're going to get to 10 miles a month before the race, 3 weeks before the race. So they maybe start to talk a little bit about pace. 5 and 6 are either veterans, they've done the race before, or they're new to the 10 miler, but they've run a half marathon or even a marathon prior to this experience. So with them, and that's you, we then can talk about pace and quite comfortably, because you should, all of you should be having some kind of goal in your heads. And it doesn't need to be something edgy, but a goal that's beyond getting to 10 miles, because we're at program number 5. I'm looking here, just at 6 miles. You're going to get to 10 miles by the 6th of February, and I don't have program 6 in front of me, but you'll be even earlier than that. So the thing I want to talk to you guys today about 2 things. We have this race series set up. It is totally optional, but it's set up to gradually bring you up to the 10 miler. Of course, we start with the New Year's 5K, and then we have a 4 miler in Free Union, out in Sugar Hollow in early February on the road. These are staggered start runs where you have reserve times and it's chip timed. And then the third one will be the Haven 8K, and that's going to be out in Free Union also on the road, and that will be in early March. And who knows what's going to happen with the 10 miler. We're just in preliminary discussions, but those discussions can't even be serious at this point with what's going on with our country at this point. So the numbers are still rising. Who knows where we're going to be? I keep telling people it's like a race to get people vaccinated before this thing gets out of control. So who knows? And I'm not going to stress about that at this point. Program and not get yourself too worked up and worried about that end of it. Now, having said that, I'd love to see you all sign up for the Speedsters, and don't get intimidated by the name. It's really the mission it's about 12 years we've been doing this. It's just the mission is for you to get faster than where you're currently at. And I don't even want to talk, like I said, programs 1 and 2, we don't even talk in those terms, but with you guys, it's an optional thing. It's free. You do it through the track club. And what I'd want you to do is follow the Wednesday workouts that I have laid out in there, or an abbreviated version of it, because you guys certainly can handle at least some of the workouts on Wednesday. And you can always talk to me through text, and I will call you obviously back. The reason I don't give a phone number is I don't get a break very much throughout the day, so you'd be frustrated trying to call me. But if you text me, if it's something I can text back simple, I will. If it's a call, I'll catch back up with you. But Speedsters, again, is an opportunity for you there's a Monday pickups you do, Wednesday there's a little workout, and then Saturday you'd follow what I have laid out for you with the training program. All right, so having said all of that, I just throw it out to you for any questions you have currently, things that have been frustrating you, or that you're head scratchers, or that you've maybe something about your own personal goal that you're quizzical about. Karen, I saw your question. How do we access the Speedster info? Leah is not on.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'll send that information out again.
Just, Leah, make sure that, and I know you will with this, you're so good with these things, is just make sure we don't have 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 seeing that and thinking, oh my gosh, what am I missing out on?
Yeah, I'll send it just to the other people.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
I realize that workouts are not something folks are probably doing now, but nevertheless, traditionally, have you gotten folks together on Wednesday morning for the Speedster workout?
Yeah.
Is
It's
there
75, David, in the old days. Yeah. And we'd break you if you were brand new and you showed up. We always have we have a little meeting at the beginning. I talk for about 4 or 5 minutes. And I say, anybody new, come here. And then I handhold you, bring you over to the right pace group. And so those days are, they're not in the past, but they're certainly not happening now.
Yeah.
With the governor saying we can't have groups of 10 or anything more than 10, I can't afford to, have that type of scenario. But yeah, it worked beautifully. And
so the Charlottesville High School track I know is open. I've been there a number of times. Previously, UVA was open. Is it closed at this point?
Because UVA is closed, and Albemarle and Charlottesville are two wonderful tracks. Western is also, that's anybody out in Crozet in that area. That track is not as in good shape. Even the kids on the Western team would tell you they're not defensive about it. That track needs to be, it used to be the best track, and now it's not in the best shape. But anyway, for working out, that's also an opportunity. Try to avoid the middle and elementary school tracks. They are not 4 laps to the mile, except for Walton and Meriwether Lewis. You're going to get yourself in big trouble trying to do a track workout on some track that's 8 laps to the mile, because you'll hurt your hip. One hip.
There's a Charlottesville High School track. They're started up track workouts for the kids there. So between 4 and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Yes. I was told that it's going to be closed. So just keep that in mind. I was there like at 4:30, and the coach was really nice. He said, just take another lap. Weekdays when
Charlottesville High School, they're about the nicest people over there. And that track was open when every other track was closed. I just did a Twitter post this morning, and the Ragged Mountain did a post yesterday about thanking the principal and the athletic director. They've been wonderful. But yes, sometimes people forget that those are school tracks. So it's nice you bring that, Matthew. And so even at UVA, people will get into it with, it's the University of Virginia's track, and they're trying to have track practice. Come on. So, yeah. And, if you do get to the tracks, you guys stay out of the inside lanes if you can, because it just wears them out. And that frustrates the athletic directors, because those are $500,000 tracks. So to resurface them. Other questions? Don?
Yeah, Mark. I've gotten the emails on the Speedsters, and because I've never done it before, I can't figure it out.
Thank you for asking that question, Don.
Oh, thank you, David. I feel better.
So that's what I always say, if you have questions, ask me. And I don't get those questions very often. So I'll throw it back to you guys, because the last few Speedsters, it wasn't today's, it says new ? Don't understand the acronyms, confused, give me a shout. And it's like radio silence out there. So yeah, so Don, always please text me or call me, David, to anybody, because it's hard. I don't want to make excuses, but it's challenging. I don't want to lose the audience that's been there for years with Mark just every week the same stuff. But at the same time, I never, and you know this, Don, personally, from having been in the training program this summer, I don't ever want to intimidate a new person and make them feel like they're out of it. And so there's a balance there. So anytime you don't understand, just know that for any workout that you do, you have to warm up. So if your day is 5 miles total and you have to do a workout, you got to warm up for at least 1 mile to 1.5 miles to 2 miles. Then you do the workout, and then you cool down for a half mile or 1 mile. And those are your aerobic heart rate. And the workout, obviously, is the workout. And another lesson is that in keeping with, I told you about, making sure that first 4 to 5 minutes of your run is the slowest of any run. Your first speed repeat should be the slowest of your. So if I say do 10 times 30 seconds fast, 30 seconds slow, your first 30 seconds fast, and it's not a sprint, should be the slowest of the fast because you're still warming up.
So, and I'll call you, I'll probably talk to you about this, Mark, but let's say you do have a 5-mile regular run that day. How do you incorporate the workout? Where does the workout come in?
Literally just what I just said. You warm up for a mile to mile and a half, then you do the workout and you cool down for a mile. So the workout, usually my workouts are anywhere from 2 to 4 miles in length.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying to you guys earlier. If you're joining the speedsters, talk to me because some of those guys are doing 7 to 8 miles on Wednesday. And so their workout part is 3 or 4 miles. It's too long for you guys. You'd
Yeah.
want to start with an abbreviated version of it.
Okay.
So definitely. So those emails go out every Sunday night. Leah does them. I type them. Leah sends them out. Text me with any questions you have about that workout on Wednesday, and I'll answer it for you.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. And, I'm obsessed, having been a guy that was picked on in my freshman year of high school. I would say you guys may have heard this before. I was picked on so bad. I was a little guy, scrawny, not handsome, wasn't in with the cool crowd, got beat up in the bathroom, spit on the bus. I mean, New Jersey in the 60s, that's a rough neighborhood. I'm obsessed with anyone ever feeling like they're left out. Having said that, I sometimes lose track of, speaking over people's heads, which I never mean to do. So yeah, please give me a shout.
Also, I posted it on Facebook and I put it in the chat. Mark has a really nice overview of what Speedsters is about, and then there's 2 links. One's like an introduction to Speedsters, and one's talking about the Speedsters experience. And I think those are important things to read just to give you a sense of what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's
Thank
all.
you.
If you go to SeavilleTrackClub.org, the main track club website, there's a link right on the homepage to Speedsters, and then you can see all the different things. But if you go on the blog, you'll see that there's a link to like an introduction and the Speedsters experience and everything. And they're long letters that Mark had, sends like on an annual basis. And I just made sure that all that information was up on the website.
Leah, thanks for saving those because those
Yeah.
are out. That annual letter, it takes me like 5 hours to write. So thanks. No, you guys, you may not want to look at yourself this way, but you're advanced. And if you don't have a goal of wanting to run a little faster, that's fine. But a lot of you do, and this is a good way to get you there. So, and to do it safely. Having said that, you just don't want to jump in because again, if your run on a Wednesday is 5 miles and the workout is 4 miles in length, something's got to give. Any other questions? 12 minutes.
Is there something, Mark, on that blog or that website that helps you decipher what the workout says? Because the workout is, when I looked at it briefly, it's abbreviated.
Well, for example, today's workout, I thought it was very specific. I said, find a half-mile circuit, a loop, half-mile, that's hilly, and surge the uphills and recover on the downhills. And don't get a break in between each half-mile and try and make each half-mile loop faster. That's pretty specific. If you read that carefully, I have no idea what you're getting confused on. There's no symbols, no acronyms, nothing. So I'm not quite sure what you're asking about, David. You'd have to text me specifically where I'm losing you, but I'm starting to sound defensive, but I'm trying not to lose people. And I don't understand how anyone could get lost when I say, find a half-mile loop, make sure it's hilly, surge the uphills, jog the downhills, but try and make each loop faster. And the cool thing about that is it's not like, I see Sarah Terrell on here, and I watched her son grow up. When he was running at Western, they had a track work on it. It says, run this pace for this distance to keep up with your buddies. And this is different. These are fun workouts that you can't fail at. What you will learn from them is that when I say try and make each one faster than the previous, I don't give a specific time, but if you run them slower each time, that means that you're not pacing yourself properly. You blew it. You went out too hard. And you only do that once or twice, and then you learn from it. And where does that pay off? Race day. Because the stupidest thing that I did when I was starting to learn how to race was I would run the first mile of a race faster than I was capable of, and I'd gas out. So you can fail in these workouts. It's kind of cool to learn from them. Questions, other questions? Come on, there's got to be something that's eating at you or something that you've been confused
Mark,
over.
yeah, I'd like to ask a question about the heart rate, the average heart rate, and the max and all. And then, you know, initially you say, oh, well, watch your breathing while you're running. So, but later on, then, you know, you want like a certain percentage of, you know, your average. So calculating your average, just, you know, looking at Garmin, taking your pulse when you're running, like in the mid of, like say a 5K workout or something.
Well, obviously your heart rate's going to vary. It's going to vary from, even if you never ever try and run fast, your heart rate will vary from day to day. That has to do with how much sleep you're getting, how much stress is in your life, the terrain, and the environment. So I tell you guys, that's why I love conversational pace, because numbers are exciting and numbers can be controlling. So I'd like for you to try and keep your heart rate below 140 or 145 for most of your runs. Now, obviously with the workout, like I was just explaining to David and Don, your heart rate for those hards is going to go up to 175, 180, 185, but then it's going to calm down again. It's going to go back up again. So the conversational pace, I like that so much because if you're truly comfortable talking and running at the same time, and you look at your heart rate, it's probably going to say 136, 138, 142. Whereas if you say, yes, I'm pretty comfortable talking when I'm running, that's probably going to be 175. I had someone the other day show me their heart rate, and she said, I'm comfortable. And I said, well, you can't be. This is 180 to 185. And so I grilled her a little bit more. I pushed her. I said, could you talk like you and I are talking right now? She goes, oh, no way. So I've got to teach her then to stop worrying about the numbers and start thinking more about your effort. So, I mean, there are some of the greatest runners in the world never even have a watch on. They go on their perceived effort. I mean, they're experienced, and I wouldn't necessarily want you doing that, but I wouldn't want you to go completely watchless, but.
Right.
So that's the problem with Garmin's. I get a little worried with Garmin's, even though we sell them and I think they're great tools. If someone has a Garmin and they're a new runner and they start to get too hung up on numbers, they're not going to learn the philosophies of the sport the way you should. And that's perceived effort.
Yeah,
what is
because
perceived effort?
it's confusing. Yeah, I'm sorry. I says it's confusing when you talk about heart rate and there's a curve based on age, what's considered maximum. And, you know, you want to train at 60%, 70, 40%, whatever your maximum heart rate. Your maximum heart rate for each person is different based on some other factors.
That's where, again, go to conversational pace.
Yeah.
It never lies. So I'm not that big a scientist that I could tell you exactly what your heart rate needs to be. But I do know that if I hear you breathing heavy on a run when you're not supposed to be working out, where you're supposed to be just doing aerobic heart rate, I'm going to get on you. Now, that's one of the things I don't have the advantage. Now, I do that on Wednesday mornings in the dark. I can hear people's breathing. And because I'm intimate with all these people, I can call out their name. I would say, Tony, I can hear you. Slow down. You're going too hard today. You shouldn't be breathing that heavy. Because it's not an anaerobic sport. It's aerobic. So that's why I'd much rather you guys not be worrying about the heart rate and worrying more about, can you talk comfortably throughout the run? Can you hear yourself breathing? Anything else?
Mark, this is Donna. I joined a little bit late, but Phil Maffetone might be of interest to the guy who was asking about heart rate. He's got a lot of information about it.
Who is that?
Phil Maffetone.
Okay.
Maffetone. He's on the net. Lots of free stuff.
Yeah, good. Good.
I have a question.
Fire away, Katie.
So I was going to be on the group 3 and 4. I'm not really sure if I'm in 4 or 5. But here I am because I missed the other one. And so how should I know which group I should be in?
It has to do.
I just joined the Charlottesville Track Club.
Okay, so first off, all this conversation we've had about speed, if you're in 5 and 6 and you're not interested in getting faster or don't want to do workouts, you're still in 5 and 6. Don't worry about it. You can stay right there. Katie, what defines what group you're
No,
in?
I am interested in getting faster. Yeah, I've been running for almost 10 years. So
Okay, so if you're back and forth between 4 and 5, so much of it has to do with that long run on Saturday. So
okay, I
folks
did
get a little
6
too-
yesterday. I think I got a little mixed up and was signing up and clicking on things. And so I ran 6 miles yesterday. So I'm not sure if that was for 4 or 5.
No, that's 5. Your program 5.
Okay.
I'm looking at
Okay.
it right
So
now.
that's what I've been doing. That's what I have on my calendar is the 5.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you
and I
want to,
ran that, no problem.
if you want to try and get faster, you should sign up for the Speedsters and follow the Monday and Wednesday workouts, with the Wednesday workout being abbreviated. Because
Okay.
again, they're a little more advanced, the folks that have been on that Speedster email list for years.
Okay.
With their mileage. They'll do 7 or 8 on a Wednesday, and you guys are doing 4 or 5 or 6.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to do the full. So yeah, you're in the right group.
Okay,
Right.
great.
So
That
you
worked
guys,
out.
the way this worked in the past is on Saturdays, we would break into each group. So we have 200 people there, and we have 35 in one group and 50 in another and 40 in another. And then within those groups, so program number 5, there'd be a person holding up a sign, 5, they would break then into pace groups. So it was that refined. And of course, the way we're doing it here is differently. A lot of it's up to you. It's at your personal lens. So it's a little more challenging for you.
Mark, another question. How do we integrate the race next Saturday into our
Mhm.
schedule?
So I'm going to send something out. Someone brought that up. I'm pleased to hear someone else bring it up here. Someone in one of the other groups brought it up. So there'll be a couple of options I'll throw out there for you, because you guys are supposed to do 7. I'm looking here, program 5, and I don't have program 6 in front of me. But anyway, I'm going to send you out some options on how you get that in. So
I have a
because we
quick
did
question.
shift around. Heather?
So yeah, I just joined a couple days ago, and I wasn't sure how to get the mask.
Well, the masks aren't available yet. We talked about that a little while ago. And,
Okay.
well, no, we didn't talk about this group. We're talking the other group. So we've got some really nice, high quality masks. The ones we actually sell at the shop that we've liked a lot. You can exercise in them. They do get gummy, but they're really safe. They pass the candle test, and they strap on. They don't move. But I hope in next week we get them out. Audrey was going to. My daughter ordered them for the track club. They'll have a logo on it. The 10-miler training or winter training program logo that Leah came up with. So we'll let you know as soon as we have them. And then, well, I guess we'll distribute them at the shop, because like I said, we had a record yesterday. 9 people showed up for that training run on Saturday at Charlottesville High School. We had 3 groups of 3, which is nice, but I totally understand why folks aren't coming out. So, but there are a few that have been. But yeah, they're good masks. These are high-end masks. You guys are getting them free. So just stay tuned.
I would say 21 degrees is kind of a turnoff. I just as soon wait for it to get a little warmer, like when I did my miles yesterday.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, we've been in much colder than that, but I get it too. So as a person who's standing there, I'm cold too.
Yeah, you
so,
know, yeah.
Yeah. I always say this, you'll hear me say it again and again. I don't have a ton of sympathy for cold weather. There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad gear.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
I mean, that's what we've done for a living for almost 40 years. We've sold that kind of gear, and you can get really comfortable really fast in really cold weather.
Oh, yeah,
winter, my favorite time to run, because you warm up. I hate the summer because you get more, you could be naked and you're still feeling uncomfortable. Whereas the winter, if you dress properly, it's an awesome time. I just don't like the footing, when it's icy.
Sure.
Guys. But yeah, I don't blame you. And especially with the holiday, so.
Mark, Tony here. I have a question, because I'm concerned about like that, overtraining. And so for an example, I'm in group 6 and we're scheduled according to the plan to run 5 miles on Saturday. And then we have a 5K. So I was thinking what I would do if I read it right, maybe I didn't read it right, but to do like a 2-mile, warm up earlier and then, run the 5K. So, then it's like, 5.1 miles. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So if you're not coming out to Foxville, if you're doing it virtually, I will point this out to you guys in the email. The way you would get that 5 miles in is to warm up for a mile, run the race, and cool down for a mile, or warm up for 1.5 miles, run the race, and cool down for a half mile. So yeah, you have to warm up before a race. It's very important. So no such thing as running a race without warming up. I'm dead set against that.
So I'm going to be live on at Foxfield on Saturday. Is there going to be a place to warm up?
There will be, but you'll only have 15 minutes to warm up because of the governor's rules. So we can't be overcrowded. So you might want to do your warm up a little bit in town, get in the car, drive out, do a little more warm up, and off you go. So, and then that's not perfect. And the scenarios normally all races, everyone when they get there early, they warm up, but not with the way we have this set up.
Right.
Mark, what's the at Foxfield? What shoes do you recommend wearing?
Well, if you've got trail shoes, great. If you have spikes, which hardly anybody does, I don't have a pair of spikes. I haven't had spikes since high school. That's the best because it's grass and gravel. So this is the only time we'll be on the grass and gravel. Then we'll be on the roads for those other 2 races. But it's fun. But that's why we didn't have it this weekend because, it rained. And it rained a lot. And it's, we tear it up with our feet and our cars. So, but the beauty of having it there, people have been questioning this, and I can't believe they don't get it. We can't run a race for 3 hours where we have all these scheduled reserved times and do that on the road. I mean, my gosh, people, make people so mad at us. And we have a chip time, so we've had to try and find places where we can do that for a period of time. So it's either going to be out in the countryside where there's hardly any cars or out on grass. Other questions?
Mark, there's no hill workouts on your plan, and I don't have to run hills because I don't live in Charlottesville. So when should we work that in? And should it be like a bigger?
Well, if you sign up for the Speedsters, there's hill workout every week. So I either do it on Monday. It depends on what I throw at you on Wednesday. So if the workout on Wednesday is hilly, then on Monday you do these, they're called form surges, where you focus on your form, particularly your upper body, and you do these 12-second surges. If the workout on Wednesday is on flat, then you do hill repeats on Monday. And you'll see it in the email. So again, you guys, this piece of paper that was, the document, this is just a skeleton. And I don't want to scare people right off the bat with introducing the Speedsters, but now it's time. We always, the first week of January, we hit you with the option of the Speedsters. And the 10 miler is hilly as can be, the one that we've had in the past. Who knows what it'll be this year, but it's you definitely want to get out and do some hill running. Most people in Charlottesville, they're training on hills all the time anyway. So Marie, it sounds like you're in a flat area.
I can go hillier. I just don't always want to. So
yeah, just remember, the hill, it's again effort. Slow down. You see that hill up ahead of you, and like I was out for my exercise this morning, and I just know, slow it down, and try and partner with the hill rather than fighting it. People that try and run up a hill at the same pace that they run a flat, that's not perceived effort. So I've told these guys before, but it's worth refreshing you on it, that an experienced runner on a hilly course, their pace should be all over the map. At the end of the run, if somebody was to look at their document of their pacing, it would show it being all over the map. And so, oh, that must have been a hilly course. With somebody on a flat course, their pace kind of stays the same throughout the run. So slow on the up, normal pace on the flat, and faster on the down. Not even intentionally picking up the pace, you just naturally go faster on the downhill. Anything else?
This is Tony again. Another question. Any, comments on cadence and stride length?
Yeah, I mean, your cadence should be as close to 180 as you possibly can. Well, that's a crazy number to try and count. It should be 90 per foot for in a minute. That's crazy to count. So it should be 30 strikes for every 20 seconds on 1 foot. And that one you can count. So if you're hitting every 20 seconds, your right foot should hit the ground 30 times. And if you're hitting 20 times in 20 seconds or 23, that means you're overstriding or overstriking. So you need to shorten your stride so it's underneath your frame. And that, I think, Leo, do we have a video on that one? I'm almost positive I have one of those.
I can't think of that off the top of my head, but
Positive I did one this spring, but
I'll have to look.
the Africans are the best in the world at this, and so that it's hard to, I don't know if I can do it here, but the longer your strike is, the farther, and this is gonna work. Let's see if we can get this down like that. Can you see my foot there? So this is one I'd have to demonstrate in a video. If Leah, if you can look, if we don't have one, I'll get one up, fire one up, but yeah, you can't hit your heel first. It's the end of you if you do that. It slows you down, and you risk injury. And the only way not to hit your heel first is to bring your strike underneath your frame. So the farther out your strike is in front of you, the slower you're going to run. It's called midfoot mechanics. Let's go back to the Africans. They're the best in the world at it, by far. They have long stride lengths. This is where people get confused. They say, look at that African. He's got a long, that Kenyan, he's got a long stride length. Yeah, but he strikes underneath his frame. He doesn't strike out in front of him. So your foot strike should be more like this. A lot of people, their foot strikes like that. So yeah, that's important. And that cadence, again, it's 30 hits per 20 seconds, not 20 hits per 30 seconds, because you're breaking 90 seconds down into thirds. So, all right, I got to get going. We're supposed to go somewhere. So if you guys have any specific questions, shout, text me, please. I'm pretty responsive most of the time with it. If I don't get back with you, text me again. It means you've fallen down in that screen, and not so good always about that. So, but I enjoy the engagement with you. The more we chatter, the better. And if there is something you really don't understand, please ask me. But yeah, if we don't have a video, Leah, let's work on that one. Because I swear I did one out in my front yard. I just remember.
Yeah, I'll have to look. Maybe
Annie filmed me. She was laughing at me the whole time, my daughter. And I'm like, Annie.
I'll look. I can't remember though. Yeah, I'll look.
Mark, one last question. Are the race start times going to be adjusted? And
Leah's taking care of that already. Yeah.
she'll send it out.
Yeah, she sent it out already. So,
Okay.
you right, Leah?
Yeah, there was an email sent out, but I'll send it out again.
Leah and I are convinced that you guys are not looking. It must be the holidays. The email must not be. You get to be like teenagers. They don't look at email. So I don't know how else to get to you. Okay. So there was a question earlier. Someone asked. I saw in the chat there. It was something about picking up the packet. There is only one thing to pick up for the New Year's 5K, and that's your race number. And you have to do that before race day. We're trying not to give them out race day. And then you get a mask for running the race too, but we don't have those yet. Company closed for 2 weeks. Who closes for 2 weeks? What a luxury. Anyway, you guys keep it up. Listen to your breathing. Pay attention, okay? And give me a shout.
All right. Bye. Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah, for setting this up. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Leah.
Bye.
Happy New Year.